A stripper bears it all for the judge Friday.
Eyewitness News with Bruce Kirk, Kathy Adams, Chuck Gatica, Fred McLeod, Joe Weaver's Perspective, and the Eyewitness News team.
Good evening, everyone. Severe money troubles have forced the Pontiac school system right to the edge of bankruptcy. But tonight, the people of that district have given themselves a bailout. Joe Bell in our newsroom to tell us how it happened, and I guess maybe more importantly, Joe, at what price?
Well, quite a high price, Bruce. Tonight, the voters decided to offset a $3.75 million deficit by approving a big millage increase in their property tax. It was quite a scene whenever the supporters of that tax hike found out that they won by a mere 9 votes.
I think we would have been looking at closing the Pontiac schools, but the people came out and they spoke their desire, they expressed their wishes, and we just want to share with them our joy and what we can do now for the kids.
But the price is steep. Tonight's vote will cost each taxpayer an extra $4.81 for each $1,000 of assessed property value. It'll stave off a crisis that's already forced some drastic action. This promising young tennis player may not have a team to play on next year. In February, the school board canceled all sports.
They live for the sports that are in the school, and if they cut it out and lose it, I don't know what will happen. I have a feeling that the crime rate may just increase.
It's all very familiar. This assistant coach went without sports in her senior year at Central High because of a similar money crisis 6 years ago.
It was very rough. There was no school spirit. My whole senior class walked around. We were very disappointed. We thought we were cheated.
Even if the schools get every penny of the tax money they're asking for, it won't solve the problem. Next year, no matter what happens, these Pontiac players will have to pay a $20 fee to participate in any team sport. The whole thing's getting tiresome for voters.
We've got all these layoffs, the plant closings coming up, and who can afford it, you know?
I think there's a fundamental problem in that we should change our funding procedure. However, I think it's necessary that we definitely vote yes.
And just a hair more than half the taxpayers agreed. Although it will still mean that 50 teachers and administrators will be laid off, the school superintendent is guaranteeing there won't be another millage increase for at least 10 years. But no one, Bruce, can guarantee that it will end all the money problems in Pontiac.
Let me just understand that, Joe. You're saying even though they did pass the millage, there will still be layoffs?
Oh, absolutely. Even with the millage increase, there'll still be about $500,000 in deficit that they'll have to make up through some layoffs.
Okay, Joe, thank you very much. Interesting vote tonight. See what happens in Pontiac, where they really were on the edge. Kathy?
A 16-year-old Cody high school student is in critical condition at Mount Carmel Hospital fighting for his life. The teen who allegedly shot him in the head is in police custody. The shooting, according to police, stemmed from an argument today. It happened on the Southfield Service Drive between Joy and Tyerman. Since the beginning of the year, over 120 youths have been injured by firearms, and in many cases, it was another teen who pulled the trigger. The sharp rise in crimes by hardened youth criminals prompted 3 groups in Lansing today to release 3 plans on coping with young offenders. One recommendation would allow juvenile authorities to hold delinquents until the age of 23 instead of releasing them at 19. And it makes it easier for juveniles to be tried as adults. Other recommendations include opening the juvenile system to the public for hearings, building a 200-bed detention center near the Wayne County Youth Home, and spending $60 million on new detention facilities.
Well, Kathy, Joe Weaver has some thoughts about all this tonight. In his perspective, he says he is glad the politicians in Lansing, in his words, have finally woken up to the problem of youth crime here in Detroit.
I like the recommendations by the Supreme Court Task Force to help fight growing youth crime in the city. But I wonder why it has taken so long to get their attention. Don't they watch television or read the newspapers? We've been covering crime stories for years, ever since Detroit was dubbed the murder capital back in 1974. Since 1980, the proliferation of handguns and the soaring rate of young shooting and murder victims has not been kept a secret either. Here it is 1987, and the state finally says it's ready to jump in and help us solve the problem. Even the politicians in the legislature are beginning to jump on the bandwagon. Don't misunderstand me, I'm not against the state getting involved. I just get annoyed that it takes so long to get their attention. Well, now that we have it, I hope our lawmakers will move swiftly to implement the recommendations of the task force so that we can get those young thugs off the streets for good and finally make Detroit the safe place it ought to be. I'm Joe Weaver, and that's my perspective.
Well, for the first time since last fall, Detroit schools conducted a weapons search today. It was at Northern High School on Woodward. Students greeted by locked doors and 2 metal detectors inside. School security personnel ran 600 students through the search, which took about an extra hour. What was found? A pair of scissors, this can of mace, and a few nails. The ACLU still insists these searches are unconstitutional, but is really saying until some students make formal complaints to challenge it all, there is not much they can do about it.
It was a packed house tonight at the Mound Park Elementary School in South Warren. About 300 residents of that town came together to get some answers from top city officials to a rape case involving a 6-year-old girl. Although the sexual assault happened 2 weeks ago, residents didn't hear about it until last week.
If this had been your grandchild, how long would it have taken to hit the papers, to hit the television, and have cops looking like
I expected to see something on 11 o'clock news. You know, here is this creep who dropped this child off within a half a block of her home. He's a pervert who wants to be caught.
I didn't have a cop come down and say, did you see anything? I was home all night. They didn't have to say what happened. All they had to do was say, did you notice anything?
Mayor Ronald Bunkowski told residents tonight the city has increased its helicopter surveillance. He also said the police department is creating a rumors hotline for residents with questions to crimes in the area.
The folks fighting those Medicaid-funded abortions turned in well over 400,000 petition signatures today to the Michigan Secretary of State's office. If less than half of those signatures are approved, the lawmakers will have to vote on whether to cut off the money for abortions, and the governor then will not be able to veto the lawmakers' decision. You know, those contraceptive sponges that have been on the market for a while now may be doing more than just preventing pregnancy. They may also protect you from some sexually transmitted diseases like chlamydia. It doesn't have many symptoms, so few women really know that they even have it, but it can cause infertility and in some cases even death. And new research is now showing the sponge may be one way that women can protect themselves against chlamydia and similar diseases.
Women who use a contraceptive sponge are offered fairly substantial degrees of protection against chlamydia, which is now the most common sexually transmitted disease in the country, and against gonorrhea.
And in an area like Detroit, you might be surprised to know as many as 1 in every 8 women may have been exposed to chlamydia, and it is estimated there are 4 million new cases of it every year.
The number of never married men and women in their late 20s and early 30s has more than doubled in the U.S. from 1970 to 1985. And as the singles market grows, more businesses are tapping into their needs. Classified personal ads is one such business which is becoming more socially acceptable. In her report tonight, our Roseanne Sarah talks to those who look for love in the classified.
Hi, I'm Dr. Pop. What can I do for you today?
Dr. Phyllis Pop is a tall, vivacious, high-energy professional with little time to spare. She is also one of many single people who have discovered personal ads as a way to meet other singles.
I've done it off and on since, I think, 1983, and for me it was a very efficient way to meet people. I dated one man for 2 years, and we redefined our relationship last fall, and then I met someone else shortly after that we've been going out for 6 months now. And he's fun, he's wonderful, he's a professor of business at one of the local universities.
Phyllis says she usually meets her dates through Companion Corner, a classified ad section in the Sunday edition of the Detroit Free Press.
According to People's Almanac, the first personal ad appeared in a Manchester, England newspaper back in 1727. The woman who placed the ad received one response. It was from the mayor of the town, who committed her to an insane asylum for 1 month. Well, a lot has changed since then.
So that reads, I am professionally employed.
Last year, more than 4,000 ads were placed in Companion Corner, more than twice as many as the previous year. Joe Gretsch, who heads the department, says the majority of people who place ads are professional or older people. He also says the recent AIDS scare has changed the way people write their ads.
We have noticed a lot of people will write copy in their ads that they're healthy, that they're clean.
Not everyone has had success finding love in the classifieds. David Stein's reaction to his postal passion was
horror.
Obviously, David didn't learn to read between the lines. I'm Roseanne Sarah, Channel 2 Eyewitness News.
It's a whole new world, isn't it?
Absolutely.
More proof tonight that TV, I'm sorry to say, can be dangerous for your children.
Plus, the fate of Ronald Evans is in the hands of a second jury tonight. Stay with us. For people on both sides of the Ronald Evans trial, this is a night for waiting and wondering what's going through the minds of the 12 jurors deciding the case. They were sent home today after deliberating for 4 hours. They have to decide whether or not Evans killed Chin in 1982 because of his race. In closing arguments today, the defense said Evans was drunk and provoked. The prosecution says Evans looked on Chin as something less than an animal. An assistant Wayne County prosecutor is pleading guilty to racketeering charges tonight. Federal officials say Thomas Smith of Grosse Pointe Farms admitted today that he accepted bribes in exchange for fixing traffic tickets. Smith's indictment was the result of a 3-year federal probe into the 36th District Court and Recorder's Court in Detroit. Others are being investigated, including several judges. Bruce?
In Washington, with the House approving that sweeping crackdown on trade, a strong message has now been sent to Japan. That country's prime minister met with President Reagan today to try and straighten out the whole thing. Prime Minister Nakasone has outlined plans of his own to reduce his nation's trade surplus with the U.S., and apparently he better, because the president said that he is telling Nakasone he will not lift tariffs just put in place until he is sure the Japanese have stopped unfair trade practices. But that tough trade bill on the way to the Senate, the president says he will veto if the proposed sanctions remain intact.
Both GM and AMC are hoping to encourage more trade-ins with new sales incentives.
And the state has a warning for some young people looking for work. Those are just two of the stories that Murray Feldman has in tonight's Channel 2 Business Report.
Good evening. GM and AMC are going the incentive route to move backlogged inventories. General Motors is offering up to $1,200 rebates on some of its models or low interest rates, even on 60-month loans. Each division of GM differs slightly. AMC is going to a zero interest rate on some of its products. Ford Motor Company will team up with Nissan to produce a new vehicle. It'll be sold in North America. Ford Land Development and the Ritz-Carlton Hotel Company will build a luxury hotel, office, and residential plaza just off the Southfield Freeway at Hubbard Drive. They say the Ritz Dearborn will be the most exclusive metro area hotel. A warning from the State Labor Department tonight. Many young people have taken out applications for the Summer Youth Corps program, but few have returned them. If they all come back at the last minute, the system could be backlogged, and the youth program may not start on time. If you have an application and you want a job, you're asked to return it soon. Ford Motor Company stock rose another 3 1/4 today after going up more than 6 points yesterday in the wake of Ford's announcement that they made $1.5 billion in the first quarter of 1987. On Wall Street in general, the market was up some 32 points. That's the Channel 2 Business Report tonight at 11. I'm Murray Feldman. We'll be back with you tomorrow night at 6.
Well, the month of May could begin with some leftover showers. Chuck will have the weather next.
Oh, boy. And later on, a popular new group proving that music and politics can mix.
Gatica with weather and a reminder that kids ask the doggonest question.
We had some brownies in here today from 1019 in Trenton. They wanted to see you guys, and I knew you were real busy. Then they had another question. Do we wear makeup?
And you said?
I admitted, yes, we do wear makeup.
Did they ask about your paycheck?
No, they didn't do that.
They didn't.
The makeup isn't really the
one
problem. It's those darn pantyhose. Outside this hour, here's what I have for you now. They just rise and everything, 50 degrees, clear skies. I'm on my own. Thanks, guys. 49 Cityway, Southfield is 50. And what color do you get, huh? West winds at 8, pressure is steady, relative humidity at 42%. I've got a gray suit. I've got a hard problem. The coffee color, the tan color. 59 the high, the low 36, normally 64 and 42. And there you see the all-time records as well. Let me take you back just a little bit. 6 o'clock. This was the satellite picture. I put the features on. Notice this big area of cloud cover back out here. We just had a few clouds in the state. We'll advance the shot now several hours to the current picture, and you will notice the little clouds have gone away, but this area of cloud cover has expanded into the southern part of the state. The upper-level wind flow is just about from that direction, so this is not all rain-making cloud cover. The cloudiness is beginning to blow on into the state, and by tomorrow we will have the risk for a few scattered showers. Thunderstorms are firing off. Looks like popcorn down there. There's cold front that stretches down that way, and a lot more moisture in evidence here, back out to the west across the Rocky Mountains and the high plains and up to the northwest part of the country and down across the Rio Grande area and Texas as well. South of this front today, very warm temperatures. The northeast is finally drying out. We had a pretty good day, but this air mass is kind of cool and dry, and so we started off very chilly, a little breezy, and then we warmed up nicely to up near 60 degrees. Now, again, south of this front today, a lot of folks, again, about 24 cities tied or broke their all-time records. Some of these folks, again, in the 90s. That warm air has been trying to get here, but the cool, dry flow has continued for us. Temperature contours across the country showing a widespread area of 70s all the way up to the northern tier, back down through the mid-south into the southeast. Southwest is still warm now. 50 and 60-degree temperature contours in the green shades. We've got the 40s coming in now, but the real chilly stuff is still well away from us. But it does look like we'll go down into the 30s before the night is out. 50 degrees for us right here with clear skies. I say into the 30s, only the upper 30s, right to near 40 degrees, especially with the cloud cover beginning to come in. That tends to act like a blanket being thrown on. 46 degrees at Grand Rapids. 39 already down around South Bend. Notice as you get away from the city, the heat of the day, where the radiational cooling takes effect. Toledo is down to 41, Saginaw is 42. So all the buildings and the concrete tend to hold the heat in. Here's your forecast beginning with tonight. Looks like this. Increasing cloud cover, not as cold. 40 to 43 in the city, and the outlying areas could maybe see that 39 mark. Then for tomorrow, cloudy with some sun, mild temperatures, 60 to 64 the high. Tomorrow nighttime, gray skies for sure, a few widely scattered showers, 43 to 45. And the 4 days ahead, there will be a warm-up as we get into May. Sunday, Monday, into Tuesday, temperatures near or above 70 by that time.
Nice.
Yeah.
Still trying to get over the pantyhose.
Oh, it was a joke. Somebody out there's going,
yeah, that's right.
You know what to get them for Christmas.
Yeah, you're going to get a gift in the mail. Okay, Chuck. Well, you know, for kids' sake, you may want to cut back on the amount of television your children watch. Not the news, but maybe some of the other programs, to tell them to go outside and run around for a while. There is a Harvard researcher tonight saying that too much TV and not enough exercise are just two of the reasons why childhood obesity has, in his words, become an epidemic in our country. As you can guess, the third reason is simply eating too much.
Well, the Tigers try to make it 2 in a row against the Angels.
And a couple of hockey teams may have taken another step up the ladder on the way to the Stanley Cup Finals. Fred's up next with sports.
Next time on The Judge.
That guy came damn close to ruining my life, and I'm not going to let him get his hands on Melissa.
She's my daughter. I love her.
He just wants her now because he killed his wife's child.
She's just opposing me here out of spite because I wouldn't leave my wife.
Isn't it true that you beat your pregnant wife so severely that she lost your baby?
I can't let Melissa get hurt. Not by that man. Please, Your Honor, let me have my daughter.
Take the Stand, Friday at 5.
It's starting to sound like a broken record. You hate to keep saying the Tigers are on the coast and they're losing, but they are.
I wanted to put in to move our sports studios out to the West Coast this week, but the boss wouldn't buy it. Can't figure it out.
I wonder why.
I've been there in person. Eyewitness. The Tigers figured to have a pretty good chance of sweeping the Angels with Jack Morris working tonight, but Devin White slugged a 2-run homer in the first inning, so the Angels lead the Tigers 2-0 in the third. At Oakland this afternoon, Reggie Jackson belted his 552nd career homer as the A's cooled off the Brewers by a score of 4-1. Milwaukee now 18-3. Quite a comeback at Cincy today. 4 runs in the ninth for the Reds to tie Atlanta. Then here in the 11th, Buddy Bell's base running mistake, going from second to third, and the bouncer to short paid off as Rafael Ramirez threw it away. The Reds win it 9-8. On the scoreboard now, the Mets have clubbed Montreal with 4 homers tonight. Elsewhere, Pittsburgh over L.A. by a run. Same scores, kind of redundant here. St. Louis over San Diego 5-4. San Francisco over the Cubbies by the same count. Well, knockouts are common at Kronk Night at the fights at Cobo, but it's usually the hometown team dishing out the punishment. But tonight, a major upset. A different story. Former IBF lightweight champ Jimmy Paul has been knocked out by Amancio Castro of Miami. He was knocked down here in the second round. He was saved momentarily by another standing 8 count, but Castro went right in for the knockout. Watch him get it. Paul, who had been ranked number 2 in the world, winds up losing at 2:59 of the round. It's his second straight defeat, including losing his title. Well, if you were to plot momentum of the Wings-Leafs series, you have to go up like a roller coaster ride, up and down, up and down. The Wings seem to have it back, though, going into Maple Leaf Gardens for Game 6 tomorrow night. Now, of course, the Wings are a pretty confident bunch right now.
Every guy believed in here when it was 3-1 that we're not done, and I think after winning tonight, the confidence, we're going in there. We know we can play well in there. We've won a game, come out with a tight one, so when you have your confidence going in the building, it's a good feeling.
The difference could be Steve Yzerman, who has yet to score a goal in this series. You have to give the Leafs credit, though, for banging the Wings captain. So what will Steve do to perhaps shake himself out of the slump?
Bench and break my stick or something, and then I calm down and take a deep breath and relax, and then go at it. No, I'm just kidding. We take it easy. I just got to convince myself that if I keep going, it's going to go in, and not to get worried. As long as the chances I go on, they're going to go on. You know, if anything, I'm trying to pick a corner now or trying to get a little too fancy.
Montreal and Quebec are going to Game 7. John O'Gradick scored his 8th playoff goal in that 2-on-1 to tie the game at 2 in the final period. Then less than 2 minutes later, Norman Rochefort got the winner. Nordics win 3-2 and go back to the Forum Saturday night. And ditto for the Islanders and Flyers. New York has come back again, getting these early goals from Mike Bossy and Brian Trottier to beat Philadelphia 4-2, thus knotting that series at 3 games apiece. The Isles are hoping to become the 4th team in Stanley Cup history to come back from 3-1 to win. And, of course, the Wings hope to become then the 5th team. Well, the Pistons will eagerly await the outcome of tomorrow night's Indiana-Atlanta matchup. Now, if the Hawks win, it'll be the Pistons and the Hawks Sunday afternoon right here on Channel 2. Portland, meanwhile, has been eliminated by the Houston Rockets. Rodney McRae slammed home 15 points tonight. Akeem Olajuwon had 27. Portland, the 3rd seed in the West, loses 3 games to 1. Well, as expected, Demons Be Gone is the favorite to win Saturday's Kentucky Derby. He'll come out of the 10th hole. Demons Be Gone is not the most stylish runner in the field, but he is a winner, the only unbeaten 3-year-old among the 17 entrants, most recently winning this race, the Arkansas Derby. He'll be ridden by jockey Pat Day, who likes what he sees.
He's got a tremendous amount of ability, a great amount of desire, and I guess probably the biggest standout at this point in time is his disposition. In the afternoons, nothing bothers him. He's just a professional in every sense of the word, and as you know, with the excitement and the electricity in the air and everything that goes on here Derby Day, you certainly want a horse that can keep his composure. And
of course, the folks at DRC excited because on Saturday, for the first time, they can actually bet on the Derby.
Oh, right here. That's great.
Put the money down.
Well,
maybe.
I don't know about that. You're right. Somebody else's money, maybe.
All right, Fred, thanks. All right. Well, the Beach Boys, they are not, but they've got the #1 album in the country and are on the cover of Time magazine.
Tonight, one of the most popular groups in the world is at the Pontiac Silverdome. That story is next. Stay with us. The band with the #1 rock album in the country right now is U2, and tonight they play before tens of thousands at the Silverdome. The group's latest album is called The Joshua Tree, and many say it's the band's best so far. U2 is known for its social conscience. The band's members often sing about issues like violence in Northern Ireland, their native country, or the conflict in Nicaragua, and in support of Dr. Martin Luther King's birthday.
And that is our news tonight, folks. Thanks for being with us.
Good night, Detroit.